especially whenever it comes to, oh, is it Natania? Oh my God. Natania, Reuben is here. Okay. Hello. Hello. Welcome.
Okay, I'm not nervous anymore.
Y'all know each other?
Yes, we do know.
I was like, I saw her in the chat. I was like literally thinking, who else would I love to see here? There she is.
Yes. Oh my God, you were in the chat. I called you earlier too. Did you get my voicemail?
She's muted.
Oh, you muted.
Muted. Natania.
Sorry,
So
guys.
I can Natania, everybody on this stream is a good one, as you should know. But yeah, please, if you need to connect any of them, let me know.
Someone in
Go
your
ahead.
chat said it's not someone else's story to write. It's not somebody else's story to tell. If you know it firsthand, then I would, because they're minors, go somewhere.
Y'all all-star gang.
Oh my goodness.
What's up?
Wow. All-star cast.
What's up, my man?
Wow. What up?
This is like all stars, BJ.
Yeah,
Look at what you just
seriously.
pulled together.
What's up?
Let's do a thumbnail picture, everyone.
Thank God I don't have a booger hanging out my nose. I mean, shoot, you just
You
threw me
better
back
wipe
up
it.
on here
You better
fast.
wipe it up right now if you do. Go
What?
off camera. Welcome,
What's
welcome.
up?
Careful, BJ. You're giving Sean Atwood run for his money.
Oh no, I could never compete with the OG. No. This is this is a family gathering for the holidays type of moment. You know what I mean? So I want to give Natania a moment, and then the Pascal show just joined us. We've been also playing YouTuber phone tag for like 4 or 5 days. Like, are you going live? Are you going live? Are you going live? We're going live at the exact same time. Me and Rabbit are live at the same time all the time too. Only thing we're missing in here, where's Sean Davey Way? I mean, we're live at the same time.
Where's
all the time
Sean?
Too. Love him. I call him my YouTube brother, my YouTube cousin. Okay, so I want to let Natania, well, you've been in here. What are some of your thoughts on, just anything that you wanted to say based on like what we were just talking about, or really the floor is all yours?
So first and foremost, as a victim, I want to say thank you to all of you for doing responsible journalism, making sure you provide a platform for people to speak and have their say when sometimes the mainstreams don't offer that to us, but also doing so in a kind and empathetic way. It means the world.
Thank you.
The world, and I appreciate you all for that. I think probably the first person I spoke to out of this whole crew was MIMS when this first happened, and he was so kind and so gentle, and just I appreciate it. I truly do. Pascal and Rabbit, I haven't had the opportunity to speak to you guys, but I watch all of you. I watch.
Oh my God.
I will say,
gold right here.
Natania, I have reached out to you.
I know. I got your email. I got
Yeah.
you.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure it went to the right place. You know what I'm saying?
Get to know you better, but absolutely, you do a remarkable job as well, and I thank
you.
So, go ahead, Natania.
But we were saying to Natania, first of all, I just talked to her, Kim and I. She's the best person I can say, like out of all, and I said it before you even were here. Of all this circus as it's becoming, you're the one I trust the most and you really were a survivor. But BJ's asking, and I'm curious too, like the circus, these people, I know you don't like to rat people out, but what do we do as content creators when we're noticing something's off?
Yeah.
Great question.
I think the best thing you can do, like, of course, you guys preface it by saying the views expressed on this channel are solely those of the contributor and not representative of the show. And then it's okay to challenge people on things. It's okay. I do understand that people are victims and have been victimized. What I think is happening is it's turning into a sensationalist type of thing. And like I was talking to Andy about, I watched this happen 20-something years ago during my trial.
Tell him what you said about that, actually, because when I had you on, I wanted you to talk about this specifically. You saw the media manipulation already 20 years ago in this way, right?
And there was no social media. So it was the hip hop magazines, the radio stations, the urban radio market, the media, the mainstream media, newspapers, and he would have his street team literally on the stream with massive signs walking around saying, hey, free Diddy, or, let him go, and he's a good black man, and all that stuff. And it was a circus. I watched those people manipulated, and that's why I had a love-hate relationship with social media for so long. It took me a long time to come into the fray because I was viral before there was something called viral, and it wasn't a nice feeling.
Right.
So I love that you guys handle people with care. If you have questions and something doesn't pass the smell test, it's okay to press people like, hey, here's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What do you have to say about this? There seems to be contradictions, and give them the opportunity to express. Now, it's not lost on me also that victimized people oftentimes have a hard time expressing themselves. Sometimes trauma, sometimes they're uneducated, undereducated, things like that. And then there's an intimidation with speaking to someone who does public speaking regularly. So some people can, whenever there feels like there's an authoritarian in the room, people, kind of shrug down. The difference with me is I'm no shrinking violet. I'm an old tough Brooklyn girl, but I have the ability to communicate, and I do so with ease, and it makes it easier for me, but it doesn't mitigate anything anybody else has been through or make it less important. And I always want to reference that, like, their story's not less important. For me on my platform, I came out with the follow-up video because I don't need exacerbations, exaggerations, hyperbole, and untruths. Just tell me the truth.
Yes.
Just tell me the truth. I can't allow anybody to use my platform for anything other than the truth. So that's why I said what I said.
Agreed. I feel the same way. And sometimes there is a knee-jerk reaction to want to maybe like, oh, MIMS went away. Maybe a knee-jerk reaction to maybe me even, right? Like want to make an excuse like, well, maybe it's, maybe she didn't remember, or maybe she, this and that. But it's like, no, at some point, like there's factual discrepancies. And if our loyalty has, lies with the truth, then you have to keep going to get to the truth. And when there's different facts, then you haven't gotten to the truth yet, in my opinion. And so it does feel, Mims said it. I don't know, maybe he got disconnected. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he had to run. But he said it earlier, like nobody wants to be discrediting a victim. It's like, I think all of us have been through things in our life that would be, different levels, different various. And it's like, we all know what it feels like to not be believed whenever something bad happened. And then you take that and amplify it to the highest degrees by the biggest people, and really no one ever believes you. And then you're being attacked and stalked and all this stuff. And it's like, who am I to say somebody's not telling the truth? But that, like, there's different factual allegations, and it's like, what's the true story? Because it matters. It matters what happened. It's hard.
It is. It's difficult. And here's one other thing I will say to that end. Traumatized people sometimes don't get it out right. Sometimes, and I'm not going to ever say that these women were not victimized. What I'll say is, while I know they were victimized to some degree, as with any journalistic approach to telling a story, we cannot either confirm or deny until there are more reputable facts, and that's it. But I won't disavow them. I will just simply say, I invite anybody to speak to me, because I don't ever talk about the details of the story. What I talk about is, who are you? Who would you want to be when you grew up? What do you think led you off the rails? Where do you see your future? I always try to focus future forward, future focusing. And so when I'm humanizing you and giving you a platform by which people can see you as a human and not as a caricature of yourself, all I ask is that you just be honest with me. And that's it.
Thoughts, everyone else?
Pascal? I do have to head out, but BJ, thank you so much for inviting me.
For coming.
Pascal, Mims, the dopest nerd, Natania, shout out to you, Andy. I will see you guys, okay? You guys have a great one.
Stay blessed.
Bye.
So Pascal, have you come into any of these kind of conundrums, like not knowing what to talk about, not wanting to take a certain stance? Like, could you speak to how you, as a, content creator, have dealt with some of this dynamics and some of these considerations lately?
I think that's the main issue for a lot of whenever you hear anyone's, a victim's account on anything. Because of course, we all have a heart. We all care. We all don't want to be rude or mean or be naysayers or victim blame or anything of that sort. So yeah, it can be really tough, especially when you're listening to these interviews and sometimes they seem to go off the rails with the details and you're going, wait a second, hold up, pause for a second. What was just said there? Because that doesn't make sense, So there's certain things that you have to keep in mind, keep that in the back of your mind. It's very easy for us to just jump down their throats and say, hey, you're lying, you're full of ish and whatever it is, and so for me, that's the toughest part, because we're all logical people. We all think independently and critically. Most of us do, at least. And, I think it's really tough when you hear pieces of information and you go, wait a second, that timeline ain't timelining so much now. But I still have to err on the side of being sensitive and understanding that this is what somebody went through, and how they're talking about it, how they speak about it, the vibrations that are coming out of them. It gives a certain vibe of, man, they went through something. Whether it's completely accurate or not, they went through something here, and it's intense. And I know that might upset a few people when I say this, but maybe it's not the internet that they should be expressing their feelings towards. Maybe it's going to a professional and working those things out. Not to say that they're not going to those professionals, but instantly I'm thinking, to speak on those things is pretty intense. And yeah, it'd be nice if hopefully they are talking to or have some sort of support system for these individuals. So yeah, it's tough because, like I said, yeah, I have a good time on my show. I'm silly, but I stick with the facts. I try to stick with the facts as best as I can, talk about what's going on in this particular case. But then when you start listening to the victims' testimonies, when they speak out, yeah, there's a lot of push and pull, because of course the logic side of you, the practical side of you, wants to jump on it and go, wait, technically you didn't say that before. Now you're saying something different. So yeah,
right.
It's
especially because, like, for
fence,
me, that's my whole thing. My whole thing is like, let's look at the court documents, let's look at the public record, let's compare, and let's do a little matchy match. And a lot of times it's like, P. Diddy or Donald Trump or someone who, like, it doesn't matter if I'm offending that person, they probably deserve it or something. But then it's like, okay, now it's someone alleging to be a victim who has pictures of inside of a recording studio with Diddy. Like, this is definitely somebody who knew Diddy. And then it's like, okay, so then what? It's like a different uncharted, territory or whatever. But I mean, all of that being said, like, I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to have as much empathy and sympathy as I can. But ultimately, my loyalty, like I keep on saying, it's got to be with the truth. Right. What we're trying to figure out the truth is. So I'm trying to be as respectful as possible getting to that. I don't think you have to be a bull in a china cabinet type of thing.
Yeah. But I also say this too. I think there's a respectful way that you can approach the questions or ask the questions. I think there's a way that you can ask the questions without just attacking or victim blaming as well. You see what I'm saying? Because, some other people will be like, she lying, she capped the entire time. And it's like, right. Wait a second. How about just ask the questions? If you got the questions, just ask the questions. But just doing it in a respectful manner. You see what I'm saying? Instead of just attacking them, because you never know. They, it could be 110% the truth. Yeah,
I mean, I wrestled with that because I was constantly trying to figure out, what do I ask Adria? And then Adria's like, do you want to talk to Misha? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk to Misha yet. It's a tough balance. But I also wanted to say, Pascal, good to see you. It's been forever. Pascal is the real deal.
Pascal.
I see you grinding, my man. I've been meaning to reach out because you've been hitting the same stories. I don't talk to anybody these days unless I'm going to book the interview. But shout out to you, my man. You've always been so good to us, and I'm really excited for what you're doing. And we got to get you on sometime. Let me know if you want to join the conversation.
I'm always down, man. Just send me a DM, and it'll go down. Just say when, bro. I'm down.
We're gonna do it. And
then, so I do want to.
Sorry. So. The electrician is changing out the breaker in my studio, but they are not doing any work in the house. So that's what happened.
I was like, maybe he hates us. Maybe he's coming right back. We'll find out.
Literally, if you look, the lights went out.
I was like, is this a CGI?
No. So
I thought it was like a new feature on StreamYard. I was like, damn, you could actually dim the. Oh, damn. I was like, look,
Elgato ring light went out.
Can you remove yourself from the StreamYard, BJ, and still hear everybody?
Can I remove myself?
Well, because I'm just debating if I buy StreamYard instead of Zoom, and I'm sorry to make everyone have this tech question. Can we hear you still?
I think.
No, definitely. She's just removing herself from the stream.
No, but now she can't talk.
No, audio you can't hear. Yeah. No, you
because I
can't.
want to use it as my guests, like for my guest feed. But you have to have your box in there. Is what the reality is.
Well, did y'all hear me just now?
No.
Okay, so I'm not buying the Black Friday deal for StreamYard because I need to use it for guests, and on Zoom you can hide self, but you can't do that on here, I guess.
There's a Black Friday deal for StreamYard? Man,
Yeah.
I'm
There
about
always
to delete
is.
my whole thing, start a whole thing all over again so I can get it on the free 99.
Get on
What's
it.
up with
Get on
that?
it.
Damn.
No, it didn't work. Sorry. Thank you for. I was just curious because I was literally about to buy it. I'm like, wait, we're on StreamYard. Does it work? It doesn't work.
What? Oh, so you have to
You
still
have
be on
to.
the
If I want to have you
screen.
guys as my guest panel box, like I do in my Zoom, that
Yeah.
icon's going to be there, which is just annoying. They
Yep.
should have a hide self like Zoom, and then I'd be all
Andy,
on
I
it.
guarantee you, if you email them and tell them you're not getting the Black
Because
Friday
OBS
deal
needs
because of
like a
that,
clear.
they will have
StreamYard
that
has all those
feature
nice
fixed.
features. I'd love to have it in there, but yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you for humoring me. Sorry,
So,
I do have to get going because I want to sit here and talk for hours, but I got to get prepped for holiday travel. But I
Okay,
just
bye.
wanted to thank you for watching the video, spreading the word as always. BJ, you are the best. You are always pursuing. Guys, I know you all know because you're subscribed to her, but I just like to lift her up. She is afraid of no one.
Nothing
and I
and
love that
nobody.
about BJ. She is fearless. Like all these years, you fight back against some scary people, girl, and you always do it with strength and dignity and class. And I hope you know I'm such a big fan. I'm so always in your corner as you're just crushing it. That I take massive pride and excitement when I see you succeeding. So you keep it up, dude. You're the best.
Thanks, Andy. I really appreciate that. I'm just being
Natania,
out
I just
here
gave you a love
fighting.
fest on my show. They'll see it on the channel. So subscribe to it, dude. Pascal, please reconnect with me. I'm sorry I lost touch. I
You
love
say
what you're
my
doing.
name
You're the best.
wrong.
And MIMS, don't block me. I'm a good dude. I like what you're doing. MIMS, for real, you are keeping it honest too. Like I really appreciate your take. So anytime you want to come in, even if we just have a you and me chat just about the circus, I think that'd be fun for the chat. So hit me back anytime. Love you all, chat. Subscribe to all these amazing people. Enjoy your chat. I'm gonna go get
I
my
love all the
family.
unity between YouTube content.
This is a good crew. I like being here. This is a good crew. We gotta do this again. We should help each other. Let's do it on each other's channels.
That's how it should be.
Hit us up. Can we do a group chat, group text? Let's do it once a week. We show up on each other's channel and have a Diddy come to Jesus. Sign me up. I'm in.
Lord, once a week, girl.
That's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work.
Let me know. All right, bye, guys. Thank you.
All right, safe travel.
Okay, bye.
I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Natania and I talked recently.
Oh, word. Okay.
I'm glad that she spoke tonight because when I texted her a couple of days ago, it was actually about this topic. So I'm glad that we spoke in regards to that. I do want to say, how do you feel about the fact that there are so many more people in this sphere that believe victims?
It is refreshing. It is refreshing, especially having walked this truth-telling journey for 25 years and to have had aspersions cast upon me and my integrity, challenged. It was insulting. There was no justifiable reason for insulting my integrity other than the fact that the guilty people didn't want their guilt to be highlighted. So to see people wholesale believing victims and allowing it the time to play itself out, it means the world to me. It's all is well with my soul. I promise you. For far too long, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, what is wrong with people? Like, I understand the dichotomy between hero worship and people wanting to believe that a wealthy person who has all of the assets and things attached to his life that would give him a great life would not do something so reckless. But we live in this world. Look at what history has shown us. Some of the most reckless acts in the world are done by people who should not absolutely do them.
And you know what, too, Natania? Like for me, whenever I was hearing the allegations against Diddy, there was also this other component of like the criminal justice system being racist, you know, like and unfairly kind of like having these consequences against like Black men specifically. So for me, it was like literally not until Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs sat in front of his own phone camera and put on his own Instagram, I am sorry for that behavior, that I finally was like, that was Diddy in the video. Y'all, you can go back and watch. I watched him chase Cassie down the hall like a freaking predator and go, I don't know if that's Diddy. It looks like him. I don't know. It could not be him, because I didn't want to be unfairly accusing someone who might just look like Diddy. Now I'm the racist white lady who said that the man who kind of resembled Diddy was Diddy beating somebody, and it wasn't. And like, I've said that to my platform. So I said it, and some of my audience is like, girl, that is Diddy, please. And I'm like, I don't know. And then he finally came out.
The system is also classist.
Totally.
If you're not wealthy and you don't have this wheelhouse of reserves to be able to hire the best attorneys and your publicists simultaneously to shift the narrative and do revisionist, comment hit pieces, you lose out. Because like I brought up and highlighted to Andy today, and I highlighted on another interview I did, just look at it took for a netizen to hit me up and say, how come only Shine has a mugshot? What about J-Lo and Puffy's? Why isn't it a real mugshot? J-Lo is standing in front of a bulletin board. Puffy standing in front of a concrete wall. They both had on t-shirts. Now, you're not going to tell me two of the richest people at Christmas time came out in some old raggedy t-shirts. The fix was in from the get-go. Somebody gave them t-shirts to put on to hide their party attire and to try to shift the narrative. So when people came out and said, oh, I saw him, he had on this, somebody would revert back to the mugshot and say, well, no, he had on a gray t-shirt. You think Mr. Shiny Suit himself wore an old gray t-shirt to a nightclub at Christmas time?
No.
I've been trying to tell people, pointing these things out for 25 years, where people was like, well, he could have wore that. Are you? And so J-Lo did. Come on. But people didn't want to hear it. Thank God we have a situation where people can hear it now and are willing to. And I'm just so sorry that no one listened to me back then, because had somebody listened 25 years ago, there wouldn't be a Cassie getting kicked in the face video. There wouldn't be one. And all of these people, whether we believe these people were victimized or not, they would not exist. There would be no potential for 120, civil lawsuits if someone just listened to me. So
you're so right. Like, if you think about that butterfly effect in 1999 or 2001 or whatever, where it's like, no, Sean P. Diddy Combs goes to jail for this, or prison or whatever. It's like, wow, what a different world we live in today.
What a different world. What a different world.
Wow.
I tried to tell people, it wasn't lost on me, especially back then.
Wow. Yeah, just all of it, even pop culture, like shows, artists, record labels, like the progeny that boosted from him from after that. And then also, it was before that he had that basketball game, people got crushed to death.
And I tried to highlight that for people years ago too. That basketball game was December 28th, 1991. Years later, he shot me December 27th, 1999. Who's that lucky to have a day apart?
Don't forget Burroughs. Don't forget he hit Burroughs with the bat and took all of his bad boy.
His whole half of the company.
Think about the dates. A day apart.
It's like they do stuff on dates. Like they like dates.
And so it's not lost on me.
And
it's like their rituals.
The girlfriend who he allegedly beat in the quad of the college after he dropped out to start working in promotion. It's so like Aaron Hernandez, where you get away with one thing small, and then that just kind of, it's like a ripple effect until you're just, massacring people on the side of the road and playing in a major league football game the next day and getting praised. It's absolute power and money corrupts. Absolute power and money corrupts. And this is a prime example.
I know you guys probably have already asked this question already or touched on this subject already, but do you think, and I mean, of course, everybody around the room, do you think that he's going to be granted bail?
So I think the feds have the purview of hindsight being 2020 and seeing how in my trial, the witness list had to be released to the other side, and they eviscerated every one of the witnesses, paid them off. Because if you watch the Proffer podcast, he interviewed the two lead detectives from 1999, Joe Sweeney and Artie Cadigan. They said unequivocally in their talks with the DA, he interviewed, they interviewed everybody outside of the club because they wanted to preserve their statements so that people could not change their statements later. 350 people that said, oh yeah, we saw them shoot the gun. How have 350 people stayed quiet for 25 years other than being paid off?
Or got.
Yeah.
The club,
You know?
New York City nightclub, a New York City nightclub.
Or we're promised to stay at one of the houses for the white party. That's all it might take.
Well, and I know people were paid off. And here's the saddest part of all. How do you feel, any of those people who were paid off? I keep saying, come to the front of the room. We need to have a discussion, because the jurors, where are they? You're going to see no juror, no party goer, nobody for 25 years. What on earth? Have you ever heard a bunch of people stay that silent? Never. It doesn't make sense. They were paid off. So if they give out this witness list, they are jeopardizing all of the potential witnesses, victims, or anyone who could come and add to the lexicon. The feds have the purview of being retroactively looking back and seeing how things turned out. Not the least of which is all of the video footage that they extracted from his house. He loves to collect video footage. Look in that vault and find the video footage for the nightclub shooting. Because if he paid $100,000 for Cassie's video, what did he pay for him firing a gun in a nightclub?
You think they had security cameras in there?
I'm certain of it. When I was led through this passageway where we were trying to escape the club, and we were in this dark corridor, I had already been shot. This man walked up behind me and tapped me on my shoulder. And when I turned back and looked, I saw his face. The guy who owned the club, he had brothers and cousins. They all looked alike, the Burgos family. When I saw this man who tapped my shoulder, he looked like one of them. Sir, 30 people have run through this corridor. Why did you tap me? You only tapped me because you saw me on the video camera and you knew it was me. And the netizens sincerely think they were coming to finish me off. But whatever reason, he tapped me and said, follow me. We heard another loud, bum, whatever the situation was. It sounded like something slamming to the floor, whatever. It could have been a chair that fell, but it was so loud and so sudden, it scared him too. And he ran off and he left me. Why did you come tap me? Where were you leading me to?
That's the Lord pushed that chair over.
Oh, listen, I guarantee there's a video. And
oh, man.
I bet it's in that, 96 terabytes? Show can't wait till that comes out.
That's going to be wild if, shoot.
They've been trying to get Diddy.
Huh?
I don't know if he's going to get bail, but there is a network of survivors. And I can tell you that they are absolutely fearful.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I cannot say, but I can tell you that they are absolutely fearful of him getting out. And it changed my perspective. That's when I feel like I got really involved, because people, we who are not, and not, of course, not you, Natania, but for those of us who talk about it, it is a story, it's a complaint, it's something that you feel strongly about, but it's different when you feel like somebody might come up to you and do something to you. And when I reported that people had been hacked, that was very true. Absolutely true. So it's this fear. I hope and I pray that this man does not get bail, because a lot of people coming forward is contingent upon him being in jail and not being able to actively put his hands on them. So it's real, it's scary, and it would be the worst thing for him to get out before this trial.
And you know who's being left out of the fray? And I don't know why, because I keep pointing her out. When you said the people were hacked, I've been telling people that since 2015. They started hacking me in 2015. It came out once all of the Cassie lawsuit and all the other information came out. Kim started getting hacked in 2015 too. He hired a cybersecurity expert to hack into Kim's stuff so he could monitor everything she did and follow everything she said. That cybersecurity expert is the woman who gave him this last child. Why is she being left out of the fray? The woman is a cybersecurity expert.
Because she has to hold the camera for the baby while they sing happy birthday.
Yeah.
No doubt.
She's a videographer now. And now that is on the do not contact list.
That part. What he said.
2015. And you got to be something diabolical to want to give a baby to this man that you've watched do all this stuff since 2015. Like, what measure of woman is that?
It's
money.
Very confusing.
Money.
Well, she is. That's the crazy part. She has money. She was the only female and the youngest person on this major cybersecurity team in was it like San Francisco? She has like all of the credentials, which is really scary.
Maybe she's like a handler. Maybe she's like a Corey Gambler type or whatever.
Could be.
Well, she wanted a little bit of fame. So one of her best friends was one of like, I think the girls on like Vanderpump Rules. So there's times where you might see her and she's very pretty. So you know, she has the career, she has the look, but Diddy provided something else, which would be fame. Please don't hack me.
Listen,
no, y'all can hack me, ain't nothing to get.
The hacking is too real, because I'm gonna tell you something. I had one of my girlfriends pray on the live that day. I was overcome when I was speaking to Misha. I became very overcome, and she was praying, and I promise you, she got off the phone, and her son called me in the middle of the night from Facebook Messenger. He's like, my mom is sitting here saying she's been hacked. They shut her entire phone down because she prayed on my live. Phone come back on for another. I spoke to her 2 days afterwards. She was like, oh my God, am I safe? She was so concerned about her safety. Wow. And I was like, you're safe. They want to, anybody who stands in the gap with or for me or speaks on behalf of the survivors, they want to mess with you. They've harassed me for 25 years. And
have you got intermittent? Go ahead.
No, it was intermittent, but October 7th, somebody stole my license.
Your license plate?
Off of my car.
Oh, hell no.
Mean it.
So what do you have to do? Then you have to just call and report that? Or I mean, what does it mean?
I ended up going straight to, so I went back into the establishment. I went to Barnes and Nobles. As you know, I'm an author, A Shot in the Dark, where you buy your books.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Link it down below. Yes.
But I went back into Barnes and Nobles and I said, hey, can I look at your cameras? Somebody stole the license plate off of my car from the time I parked and came in. They started looking at their surveillance. They said, where your car is situated, we cannot see the back. This is how masterful they are. And they have minions that do their bidding. They will set somebody on you to follow you. Like, it's just, I've endured this for 25 years, so I'm not afraid of them. I've never been afraid of them, and that disturbs them. But you know, you guys can read between the lines. Like I always say, I'm a Second Amendment American, and Lottie Dottie, she liked to party. She don't cause trouble and she don't bother nobody, but she's always ready.
Won't start none, won't be none, as they say.
There you go. Once in a lifetime is enough for me.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
There you go.
Facts.
There you go. But
I definitely believe in standing my ground, especially at my home and in my house in Effects. That is for sure.
Like, it's literally, it sounds comical, but it's really that serious. And I imagine survivors who endured all of that, dealt with the terror firsthand, and are not Second Amendment people. What do they do? By the time
they don't have access to anybody who wouldn't put them on, tell their story. Like, they could say it, maybe 3-5 people might see it, and then some of that's their family that's saying, shut up.
Listen, I went through it. People told me for years, let it go. Why you keep talking? Just give it up. I'm like, I can't. People don't get it. If you were pout in your face, you couldn't give it either.
Facts.
Trust me.
Yeah, how are you gonna be scared of somebody's comment online when you went through that? I mean, yeah, no, seriously. I commend you. I obviously am so sorry that you went through that. And I know that it's certainly changed your life after, you know, it's probably like the before times and then the after, you know, that moment. And I know that you described like a near-death experience. At least that's kind of how I interpreted it to me. And if you wanted to talk a little bit about that, you don't have to. I mean, that was one of the things I found very compelling about one of the, what was his name? Show Too Strong. Too Strong. You were talking about like the kind of like, you felt yourself, but like you felt the air pass through you. And it's like, you were saying that stuff. I got hot, I got cold, I got chills. And it was just like, I know that happened, you know, like, wow. And it's like, if you want to talk about it a little bit, it was powerful.
Well, so when the bullet, as they started reversing back to the front door, what they were doing, you've seen movies, urban movies, whatever, where someone is about to fire a shot, they will create distance between themselves and the party they're aiming at. Now, in all their thuggery, nobody's a good shot.
They need to get down to the range.
The person you got a beef with, why do 2 innocent bystanders get shot outside instead of the person you're aiming at? So, you know, there's that. But they were reversing back to the door to create distance, and I would think a head start on an escape route after they fired the shots. And up until they fired the shots, I still thought they would be willing to fight. You know, it was back in the 1900s where people still...
They would scrap.
I thought that they would scrap, but once they pulled the guns, and I told my friend, oh my God, watch out. I looked back and instantly the muzzle flashed. They both fired their guns. Pow, pow. And one was slightly higher and one was a little lower. The higher one was further away from me, was closer to the bar, in line sight of Julius Jones, that Shine shot in the shoulder and admitted on the Combat Jack podcast that he shot in the shoulder. The lower one was Puffy's and it shot me in the face. And here's just something to illustrate. Julius Jones is 6 feet something. Shine is in his, I think, about 6 feet. He shot him, the higher one caught him in the shoulder. The reason the lower one caught me in my face is because I'm significantly shorter. I'm 5'8.5".
You know why they didn't fight? We don't know what they were on.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know what kind of habits, we'll just say, people have. So we don't know.
Have dexterity to fight. You're right. I didn't even. But so they fired the shots, and instantly, when the door opened and that rush of cold, if you've ever watched Star Trek, there's when they say "Beam me up, Scotty," when they go to the little teletransportation pods and they start to pixelate and separate. That is what my body felt like.
Yes, that has happened to me before. That what you're describing, that feeling, not from being shot in the face by P. Diddy, but it was a different thing. But like, that's why when you said that, your body started to pixelate and you could like feel yourself becoming detached from like your own, like whatever you is, like that has happened to me before. And it's like a very intense experience. Actually, I would consider that to be the moment that I became not atheist, right? Like I was raised in church and stuff. And then it was like, you know, how sometimes it can just be used to dogmatic control, you know, and stuff. And so I kind of rejected all of it. And then I had this experience where it was like that. It was like the beam me up, Scotty. And I just kind of pixelated into nothing and everything at the same time. And I was like, I guess I'm dead. But it's not that bad. Like it kind of is this like kind of nice. Like it was like I was one with God. It was like very trippy. I mean, it was so totally that. But it's like ever since that happened, it was like four years ago. I just can't say that I'm an atheist anymore. It's like something about having that experience made me more aware of something else. And that's why I do this work, because I just know it's something so much more beyond this, like get up and put on a pom-pom headband thing every day. Like there's something so much more going on. What is it? I don't know. I don't even think I have the ability to comprehend it. But that's really one of the reasons your story is so powerful to me, because you do focus on that stuff. It's like, yeah, you know, you are a victim, or I don't know if you like that word, maybe survivor you would prefer. Either way. But like, yeah, you suffered at the hands of him. And as a result, this whole ring of people, you know, they were all working in concert apparently. But what you've chosen to focus on, I find to be very inspiring and a good example of a leader of how you should act. And I appreciate that you're putting that example out there for other people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And what you said is so true. It makes you know that you are a part of something way bigger, because that part that you just illustrated, you didn't feel like fighting. You didn't resist that feeling. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't want to die. I have children.
Yeah.
Father God, please don't take me. I need to raise my children. I'm not finished doing your work. An overall sensation of this is what it is. And I didn't have any fight in me. I didn't try to fight it because I didn't know I could. It just felt like I dissipated and this is what I was. When that cold air rushed in the door, it came to me and passed through me like I was a sleeve knit sweater. I felt it go through my flesh. And flesh is solid, so we don't think that that's a thing, but I felt it come out the back of me. And that's what made me say, I'm dying, because I had never experienced anything like that and had nothing to relate it to.
That's probably why you're so strong now. That's probably why you wear the boxing gloves daily now, because you had that experience and you're out on the other side of it.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I truly believe it's not lost on me.
And could you talk about how you kind of had a series of sort of, I would describe it as premonitions. You were describing it as, you know, God talking to you. But, you know, specifically what stands out to me is you were talking about those ambulances. You pulled up on the club. You weren't really going to go out. You had just got saved a couple months before. They were calling you Holy Roller. You know, you wanted to go tie one more off or whatever. And you get up to the club in Times Square, West 45th, 43rd Street. And right there, the two big old ambulances sitting there. And what can you describe what you thought when you saw them or felt, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So if anybody knows Times Square, you know that there is not a moment of rest. I'm talking, we used to leave the house at 1 a.m. to go to the movies at times because it's just people walking around like it's 2 p.m.
It's so bright and loud and it stinks.
Thousands of people at night. So to find a street in Manhattan where there are no cars, the only justifiable thing would be there's a film crew. Not on this block. This block usually has cars up and down. There's also a parking garage on it, but there's cars on the street because parking on Manhattan streets are premium. This block had not one car on it, but when you at the top of the block, there were 2 ambulances, one halfway on the sidewalk and nose in the street, and the other one the same way, halfway on the sidewalk in the street, and it narrowed the passage of traffic down to one little skinny lane in between them. You had to go through. It was almost like driving through a portal. You had to drive through this little opening they left to get onto the block. And I said, y'all don't find a problem with this? Nobody.
Yeah, I would be like, where's the parade? Where's the marathon?
I said to them, what are they expecting? Someone to die here? The crazy irony was one of those ambulances took me to the hospital and the other took Julius Jones. It's hard not to, hindsight being 2020, it is hard not to see it as some sort of a setup or sacrifice or some weird thing. Something was afoot.
And it's December what? 18th? What day was it?
27th. It was the night of the 26th, early morning of the 27th.
Could it be, and I don't know, could it be, they say that some moments have to happen in time. They say that some moments, no matter how horrible, have to happen in time. Could it be that that ambulance was meant to save your life before they knew that they were there to save your life? Is that at all possible?
Absolutely. Now, and well, the word says God will take what is meant for bad and make it for good. It is my sincere belief that it was probably there for bad, but because I am called, because I tell people all the time, he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Because he knew what his mission for me was, he took what was meant for bad and pivoted it and made it for good. Absolutely. And I'm grateful. The irony of it was, in New York, every borough has a level 1 trauma center hospital that if you get pow-powed, you better go there. In Brooklyn, it's Kings County Hospital. In Manhattan, it's St. Vincent's Hospital. I was the most seriously injured. They passed St. Vincent's and took me to a little neighborhood hospital called St. Clair's, where women go fresh up their facelifts.
Wow.
Nobody could explain it. Thank God I had the wherewithal to ask the nurse to give me the cordless phone to call my sister. I couldn't remember anybody's number but my sister whose house I had just left. I called my sister and she's like, whose number is this? Why are you calling me? Tell me about the club tomorrow. And I scream out, call mommy. I got shot. And it was only at that moment, after everything, it was the first time I had shed a tear and the first time I felt so emotional that I had to break down. I didn't shed a tear the entire time. It couldn't be anything but couldn't.
And do you think that any of that was affected by the fact that the people who you had went to the club with abandoned you, and so you were kind of like alone, and then when you were able to reconnect with your actual family, like that was when you could begin I don't even want to use the word process, but like even begin that, like understanding of what had even happened? Because that part stood out to me too, that your friends just rolled out. Bye.
I promise you, I did not see my friends again.
Ever? Or like for
a couple of them days later when they came to see if I was okay. But that night, when I tell you I never saw them again, I never saw them again. And we have a thing. You go home with who you came with.
That's what you had. That's what I told, the white people earlier on here. I said, look, I learned from Natania that it's like in the Black community, you could go there with somebody you're supposed to leave with them. And then it was like they broke the code and she's all there alone. She got shot in the face by P. Diddy. No one's believing her. And then now I'm here and now they're bringing you to the facelift hospital.
Listen, they didn't even ride in the ambulance with me. If you knew your friend got shot in the face,
I'd be in the ambulance.
So I'd be like,
I'm running after the ambulance, for crying out loud.
I probably ain't running after it, but I'm probably screaming, hey, I'm coming.
Contacting your mom.
Calling your mom? Going to your house?
Crazy. Wait,
I called my sister myself.
So as far as, okay, so you got to this facelift clinic or hospital. What did they do? What happened then? Were you sent back?
Pascal hasn't announced.
I was brought in.
I know. I'm like,
oh, you,
like, so
ma'am,
I do watch you. I do watch you, but like just listening to you, I feel like this is like a real.
Yeah. He's the real boss here. Like he's
And
really
now,
moderating. Yeah.
In this corner, wearing electric blue, Natania. But I watch your stuff too, Mims. I've been wanting to say that this whole time. I watch your stuff too. So great stuff, by the way. But back to the thing, Natania. Hi, how you doing? Question. Okay, so you got pulled up to the thing, and were they sitting there going like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, take her back over there? What happened?
They were so blasé. I mean, I had been spewing blood everywhere. My face was open. They were very blasé. So hold on to your horses when I tell you this. So that she gives me the cordless phone. I call my sister. I'm like, please call mommy, tell mommy, hurry. And she's screaming uncontrollably. She can't console herself. She wakes my brother-in-law up and he's screaming, what happened? What happened to Eb? What happened to Eb? And she couldn't talk. And he grabbed the phone and was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, call mommy. I got shot in the face. I'm telling him everything that's going on. The nurse then hears a TV in the background of the emergency room, walks over to me because she hears me crying now uncontrollably. And she says, oh, mommy, that's you they're talking about on the TV? That's what you're talking about? You saw J-Lo? What she had on?
Oh, my God. Stop.
Well, honestly, a relevant question, apparently.
I'm dead. Are you serious? What?
As God is my witness, I promise to God, I shall not lie. I promise.
Wow.
Stop it.
You got Mims falling out the chair.
I told my mother, please, they're going to let me die. Call mom. My mother, shout out to Gloria. My mother is a powerhouse.
Shout out to Gloria.
A powerful New York woman, had connections and legal connections, medical, everything. My mother had to come from New Jersey. By the time she got from New Jersey to that hospital, to St. Vincent, she had already had super medevac trauma ambulance come and pick me up and take me to St. Vincent's. And when they were wheeling me and my mother in the corridor, like you see on any movie, any medical show where they're wheeling and the person comes, that's my family member. And my sister was over my mother's shoulder. My little sister, Danny, she was a college student, over my mother's shoulder, crying inconsolably, holding her face like she was looking at the most horrible looking thing. And that was freaking me out. I was like, what do I look like? My mom, being the powerhouse of a woman she is, I have so much reverence, respect for my mother. I promise you. I thought I was dying. And I said, I'm sorry, mommy. Tell my kids I love them. Please take care of my kids. My mother stopped right there and said, no, you go in there and you get that surgery. You survive, you come back here. I'm the grandmother. Your name is mommy. I'm not sending no messages. I make cookies. You go survive and come back and take care of your kids. Mm-hmm. Now get in there and come back out here. And I was like, it was like I was a 12-year-old girl. I was like,
yes,
okay, mommy.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the hospital.
That's the
and people who brought her there.
Why did it take your mom to have somebody come and pick you up to take you to a doctor that could actually help you? I feel like that's malpractice. You can't.
Listen. To this day, St. Clair's doesn't exist anymore. And neither does St. Vincent's, oddly enough. St. Vincent's is like college campuses or something. But St. Clair's doesn't exist anymore. And I've talked to somebody who was a nurse and a EMT, and they said that was the St. Clair's was a hospital they hated to take patients to because they knew that patient was as good as done. Why would you take me there? It was almost as if they were trying to make sure I didn't make it.
Yeah, they were trying to give you a losing battle. They want you to lose.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like at least. Can I ask you though, how many surgeries have you had, or has it only been one?
No, I had a couple of surgeries, and incidentally, the surgeon who went in, he had to slice me from the front of my mouth all down my throat, take out a bullet fragment that was aspirating to my lungs because I got hit with a 9mm hollow point bullet. And so for those who don't know, they're called cop killers on the street. When they make contact with you, they rip apart and shatter into all these different pieces.
I didn't know that.
9 pieces still left in my face and head.
Oh my God.
I have a massive piece right here on the biggest piece is right here. So my entry wound is here. The biggest chunk is right here. Broke my cheekbone, my nose bone, tore out my entire nasal pharynx. One piece went, scarred my brain. I have a traumatic brain injury. I also have a seizure disorder, swelling of the brain. Another portion, I have a bunch of little ones here, and one was over here, which caused me to lose my tooth. Like I take out my flipper every now and then because it can hurt, because over there is just so sensitive. So I don't have it in right now because and this just happened a few years ago. It took my tooth because the bullet fragment moved. You gain weight and things of that nature. It moved and it went on top of the nerve. So I didn't know why my face was swelling and hurting, but it was so swollen. My son took me to, I didn't want to hear it. Don't chew, don't breathe, don't turn off the light, nothing.
It's bad, a tooth pain. It'll ruin your whole everything. You can't do nothing with a tooth pain.
And they had to rush me into surgery and literally remove all of the nerve. It's called a pulpectomy. So they
oh my God.
And the tooth was just now a shell. And an empty shell can't survive. It broke. The end of the tooth broke first, and then the base was still in here. But my dentist kept saying, you cannot have an open thing like that in your mouth. You can't. And so they pulled the tooth, and my teeth have started shifting. It's nonstop. It's if there are any dentists out there who would love to give me the $1 million smile,
please help her, y'all. The dentist, only if you good though. Nobody's bad.
I do know a dentist who might be able to help. I know Dr. Heavenly.
Thank you. I would absolutely take it.
She does makeovers.
I would absolutely take it because that's one of the things that still, while I'm not ashamed of my story, it does bother me. It does bother me because my teeth have shifted because of the nature of what I went through. But I had to have the surgery for the doctor to extract the bullet. And that doctor came and testified in the trial. He testified in the trial. And he said, listen, while I was acclimating her to time and space, you know, when you see on a medical show, they say, what's your name? Do you know where you are? You know, who did this to you? What's today's date? They want to know how your brain is functioning, if it's functioning, and how much it is functioning. And when he was asking me those things, he said, who did this to you? And I was screaming. Puffy shot me in my face. This man, he came to court and was like, I didn't know who Puffy was. This is an older white Jewish doctor. He had no clue who Puffy was. He's just like, this woman was in my operating room screaming, Puffy shot me in my face. He said, I don't typically find people making a dying declaration and lying. They still found him not guilty because of jury tampering.
Can I say something really, really quick? It's important to have people like you say things like this because somebody might look at you and say, she looks great. It happened 20 years ago. But to hear the lasting effects of what you have to endure, including your teeth in present day, losing nerves, and continuously for the rest of your life having bullet fragments in your face.
That could move and sit on a nerve at any moment.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that we hear things like this. That's why it's important that we hear the complaints where people are very specific about what they endured, what they woke up to, what they saw. What pain they feel today, what was the lasting effects. When, you know, we hear a lot about Busby, but when that man said that he had to go and have his, I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on your channel.
Well, you know, he had to have that reconstructive surgery with a laser on his parts down there.
On his back end.
His back end, yeah.
That's important to hear because a doctor had to take that case and he had to tell them that's why it's blown out because of this. It's important. It's horrible to hear. It's dark. But until you put yourself in this person's position, I couldn't even listen. I'm so sorry. I was not trying to be rude.
I know.
My stomach was sinking. We have talked, and I did not know that it was it was this impactful to you in present day.
Listen, my face, I always have to illustrate it like this. So you guys watched the Martin show back when he fought Tommy Hearns and his head was really big and lumpy and Gina still was kissing him? Yeah. My swells so bad. Even to this day, I can tell when I'm swelling because my glasses won't fit on my face. I keep a little pair of Dollar Tree things, and sometimes they have one arm because I can't one. My face swells. I have swelling of the brain. I still have a seizure disorder, severe migraines, all types of stuff. For the previous 2 weeks, I had probably it's not happened for the last week, but the 2 weeks prior, I had a perpetual headache for 2 weeks. I was very concerned because I'm like, okay, is it a seizure? Like a lot has been going on. What's happening? This seizure disorder is nasty. It's a direct result of the bullet.
Right.
I wear readers now because this one on my optic nerve, my vision is just getting weirder and weirder. And it's a huge chunk right here. Somebody was doing something with me the other day and hit me in my face accidentally.
Hey.
And I'm telling you, it was so tender. And they didn't, you know how you're talking and you might go like this and hit somebody accidentally. My face was so long. And I don't want to make a big deal of it. So I kind of just like, oh, no, it's okay. But when I get home, my daughter she's 17. It's too much for her to have to always deal with. It's too much.
So real quick, just so I understand fully, how many fragments do you still have fragments currently right now? 9
bullet fragments.
9 bullet fragments. So can you explain to me too, or to all of us, because clearly, you were at just ride with me for a second. You're at the club, you're doing your thing, then this altercation happens, and then bang, bang, right? You get hit in the face. So it stopped. Can you explain where it stopped and how it spread? You see what I'm saying?
Whenever a hollow point, it's hollowed out in the middle. The annihilate the person that it hits. It's when it breaks apart and shatters in your body. They mean for it to cut organs, veins, capillaries.
It's like shrapnel immediately. It like on impact. It just everywhere.
So there's no exit wound because when it goes in, it shatters so badly, it usually takes the person out. And it broke my nose bone, it broke my cheekbone, tore out the entire nasal pharynx on this side of my nose. So when you look up your nose, you see those 2 membranes, that whole none of that exists on this side of my face. It's all torn out. In fact, it's depressed. It's indented. And so the bullet fragments just scatter. They hit off of things, ricochet, go here, there, and wherever they want. I presently have 9 bullet fragments still in my head.
So what I'm trying to ask is where's the point of entry? Where was the point? So it's not right here, and then it went like that.
So it hit bone, soft spread everywhere.
So how did they say anything about hey, you're very lucky that you see what I'm saying?
More than lucky. The doctor literally said, so the next day, after recovery, the day after I came out of the recovery, my family was in the room and a nurse, the doctor and a guy from I guess he was from the ethics department or something. He came to the room and asked my mother, excuse me, who is she? Is she a celebrity or something? And my mother was like, no, why are you asking her? She's my daughter. And he's like, because we've never had so many people to visit anybody at this hospital. Downstairs is packed. Can you please I need a list of 5 approved people, and that's it. No one else on top of the 5 can visit her. We can't get rid of these people. So my mother was like, okay, I'll try to go, downstairs and see what's what and talk to people. So when she came back, we were kind of laughing and, talking in the room.
I hope she took your friends that left you off the list.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
They never even came.
Okay.
Wow.
They never came.
Okay.
Shout out to my friend Veronica Simmons. She was there with me nonstop. And shout out to my friend Tish, who took care of me after the fact. Came to my house, washed all my laundry. I'm talking for a long time. Washed my laundry, fed my kids, cooked for us, put the food away, took my kids out every weekend. Shout out to real friends.
Yes.
Pascal, if somebody would have told me I'm lucky after all that, I would have cursed them out. I would have cursed them. I would have cursed them the hell out.
The hell you say shut up.
I also would have cursed them out, just for the record. Excuse me, I probably would have cussed their mama out too for raising them like that.
Throwing a slipper at them or something, man. Seriously, that's messed up.
Somebody in the chat must know you because they say you also can't sleep.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep for a long time.
No, they're saying now, you have difficulty sleep.
What happens is when you close your eyes, you get shot all over again. It's like a loop that continues to play. And you close your eyes, you wake back up, because how many times can one person get shot in a lifetime? And so it created insomnia where for the better part of 15 to 18 years, I did not sleep at all. I would get up every night, walk around the house, check the doors, check the windows. My kids were just like, Their nerves were shot. It was like, you know what it is to see your mother go through that? I'm checking doors all the time. I'm like, if somebody touched the window, if God forbid a window's up, I'm like, who unlocked this window? What are you trying to do? I was frantic because you have a total loss of safety. That's the PTSD. You have a total loss of feeling safe.
Have you found, Natania, that there was anything that helped you to maybe mitigate some of the insomnia symptoms?
It took shout out to my friend Michelle Bassett. She introduced me to crystals. She was like, Eb, you can't keep staying up. You have to sleep. I mean, I was, just wired. Like I could not sleep and I was tired, but I didn't want to betray myself. And so you could see it wearing on my body. She said, you need some crystals. And I was like, oh, really? I haven't slept.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Crystals.
I haven't slept in 18 years and some rocks are going to make me sleep.
And they did.
Like, gaslighting. She took them. She went and got them herself. I had this big windowsill and the sun would shine directly. And she said, let's charge the crystals. She laid them all out. They charged in the sun for a long time. She said, put them in this, they came in a pouch. She said, put this under your pillow. I was kind of gaslighting, like, okay. I slept like Rick Van Winkle. You hear me? I got old.
Well, there you go.
Just out.
Like, and now I don't leave home without my crystals. They are everywhere I am.
That's what's up.
But I'll tell you, that doctor came to the room when my mother came back upstairs, and the nurse said to him, oh, yeah, she's in there. She's awake. And he's like, awake? He came to the room. He's like, I'm shocked that you're awake. He said, it's one thing for you to be alive, but awake is a whole nother thing. He said, the path that the bullet took in your head, there is no justifiable reason that you should be alive, much less awake. He said, and then you're in here laughing?
Yeah, like that's what I was going to say. Did you have, because I hear stories, sometimes people have a traumatic brain injury and they got to relearn stuff, or like they forgot their such and such. Like did you have any memory lapses after, that initial?
No memory. I did have to learn how to do some things again. And I lost, I would have to say like I had this overall feeling of numbness for a while too. It was weird. In my body, my nerves and everything was just a numbness. It was a weird, like I said, when I pixelated, I stopped feeling like one cohesive piece. And so I felt like a torso and head and then extremities. They felt foreign. I'm a formally trained dancer. I promise you, after my getting shot, it's like I couldn't even figure out dance steps. Like I was like I'd never danced in my life. It was weird. It was almost as if I could use this weird explanation that I was almost out of there, and then they threw me back in like, nope, not yet. And so they needed some spare parts, and they just took the arms and legs they found it. Go back in. I promise you, and they weren't mine. It felt scarecrowy, like I had these parts, but it wasn't in harmony. It wasn't until one day I just knew that I could not carry the pain and the stress of it anymore. And watching him, that's the one thing I can share with Shine, where he said, and I didn't see it, but I've been told that he said this, watching Puffy's life thrive while he was sitting in jail did something. I carried that for a while. I had to go to the altar and lay it down. I can't carry this anymore. Like it is literally weighing me down, and I had to let it go.
Like physically on your body,
mind, body, soul, and spirit.
And
I was going to ask you, I'm not trying to take you to church or nothing. Okay. But I did want to ask you about that. I mean, was this something like after this incident that happened to you, did you become closer? Did you have a closer relationship with your with God, or did you, feel led astray? And did it take, because you just said that just a little bit ago, you were, born again, you found your faith again, right before this whole incident happened. So did this challenge that newfound faith, or did it make you stronger in your faith?
Absolutely stronger. So I was already, like I told you, I became a holy roller. I was saving souls out there in the street. People were staying away from me because they were just like, wow, look at Eb. She got saved. She's so sanctified. And, your pendulum will swing all the way to the right with anything. And then once you get settled in, it'll, settle out in the middle and modulate, and you become who you are. But I knew from then on, I wasn't going to mess with God. I literally said, if you save me, I will not waste a moment not giving you the glory.
That's what's up.
I wasn't tested. I wasn't going to test it. I knew getting shot in the face and surviving that, by no stroke of the imagination is that by chance. That is a miracle from God. And I wasn't going to play. In fact, my daughter got into bed with me when she was in the 5th grade. She didn't even exist. You know, I had her afterwards. And she got into bed with me when she was in fifth grade. It was like a teacher work day. We were watching Good Morning America. They put Malala Yousafzai on the screen. And my daughter said, "Oh, Malala." So I was shocked. I said, "Oh, you know who Malala is?" She's like, "Come on, mommy. I'm in the 5th grade. I'm a big girl." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "You know what mommy and Malala have in common?" And I don't know what made me just ask her, because I didn't talk about me getting shot with her. She knew because she had heard it, and some of her friends, like, "I heard your mother got shot." She was like, "What are you talking about?" But this day, she said, "Oh, my family's from Trinidad." She's like, "Oh, is she from Trinidad?" And I said, "No, we both got shot in the face." And she hugged me, and I just started crying inconsolably. And she hugged me, and she was like, "It's okay, mommy, you're a miracle." And God literally said to me, "I've been trying to tell you that all along." And so something came upon me. It never occurred to me to Google how many people survive getting shot in the face. I Googled it, and it says only 5% of people shot in the face and head survive, and only 3% have cognition. The other 2% are vegetables.
Or they're so like, you know, their faces, you know, bless them, you know, but like Mim said, excuse me, the daughter story got me. Like Mim said earlier, you know, it's people go through this stuff and like you, right? Like you're a beautiful woman and you're brilliant and intelligent and, you know, like you're
orator.
Yeah, so articulate and it's like all of it. It's a great storyteller, you're so charismatic, and it's like you wouldn't know. I mean, it's like seriously, I mean, I can't see it as anything but a miracle. I mean, maybe you're just a legendary superhero, which I do also believe, but I do think that there's definitely some further explanation and you had further things to do. And, you know, I to a very small degree know what it feels like to have my character disparaged because of trying to fight for the truth and things. And I don't in any way mean to compare. I certainly have never been through anything like what you have described here and elsewhere, but I do know that there is like an indescribable kind of like isolation that one goes through. And the fact that you have dealt with that for decades, plural, and only just really freaking now, last year, maybe, people are like listening to you and hearing you and believing you, which they should. And I mean, just what are the odds even? You know, it's like you were absolutely being, I believe, prepared for exactly this moment. And I think that you are, thank God, you know, and thank you for coming on this channel today and for you guys coming on too, because I mean, when we all first convened earlier, it was like, you know, a little downtrodden. We're like, how do we know it's a circus and there's these clowns and like some people are real, you know, survivors and some people are probably like out here, you know, climbing a tree and playing a leprechaun or whatever. But it's like, if you know, the Birmingham leprechaun. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of it.
We can laugh about it here. We woke up on the right side of the dirt. So,
but my point is like, you know, I am grateful for, you know, I'm out here doing my little one part over here and each of these guys are doing their part as well. I consider us to be in the same space. We doing different stuff a little bit. And thank you. You know, it's like you're like a lighthouse, you know, like a beacon that we can look at. Like at least there's Natania who's been saying exactly the same thing for 20 years. And it's like, no, like, there's these anchors you can go back to, right? Like the tape. We can all go back to that tape and look at it and we know it exists. We can all go back to the apology. And you know, you didn't just spring up out of nowhere. You've been trying to tell us this for a while. I think I might have been in middle school when you started, you know, trying to tell people.
There's a 2001 New York Times, I believe it's February 2001. You can look it up. There's a piece where a journalist chronicles. He literally says, Natania Reuben, without a doubt, places the gun in Puff Daddy's hand and makes it fire. You know, there are people like, oh, she didn't say this before. I know they're bots. You know what I'm saying? I saw something on I think it was TikTok recently with this whole phone farm where all these phones are just connected.
You saw that? It's a wall, y'all, a wall of phones. And they got one little person at it typing, and it's all these phones sending out stuff. And that's just like the rudimentary level of it. They got other ones that you don't need the physical phones. They can just send out a thing and 10,000 tweets goes out. It's insane. It's like absolutely insane.
I were talking about.
Yeah,
I'm doing a video on Sean Hawley, and I've connected multiple dots. This is why I called her, and we ended up talking. Yep. I was at the beach, and I was more in tune with my conversation with her than being at the beach. But yeah, that is
the MIMS. Like, you were one of the first people I spoke to, honestly, because I was you were talking about it. That once the Little Rod lawsuit dropped and the Cassie stuff had dropped, and remember, I was in the chat. I was in your chat, and I just commented, and people were like, "She's in here, Mims," and you said, "You want to come on?" And you handled me with such care, and I appreciate it. And it makes the world of difference, because I'm telling you, I've been gaslit for 25 years. Nobody but God could keep you through all of this. You know what it feels like for the whole world to call you a liar and be against you? I told people, God told me that this would happen, that Puffy would get arrested, and his whole world would topple. And my friends spun the block and came back, and some of them were like, "Oh, we thought you were crazy." Needless to say, I cut. But they were the first ones back. They were like, "We thought you were crazy. It just sounds so ridiculous." So imagine if I listened to people 20 years ago and stopped.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
He was acquitted with those charges. Was there ever a space in time where you could have filed civil charges against him?
I did.
And what was the?
I got a lawsuit.
It was settled, right? Yeah.
That's why Shine still owes me $500,000, and I want it. Come to the front of the room, Shine, Mr.
Mr. Diplomat. Isn't he like a politician in Belize or something?
I'm still angry about this, though. I'm sorry. I'm still angry because whatever the settlement was, if anybody would have known that you were going to have lasting effects, then whatever the amount was, it should have been multiplied times 10. The fact that 24 years later,
25 December 27th is 25 years.
25 years later, you're still having ripple health effects. Whatever settlement you got should have been a lot more.
No doubt.
Sorry, I just got angry again. I'm sorry.
No, you're 100% right. And I believe that there were even more people paid off. Hindsight being 2020, I can tell that, there were more people paid off, unfortunately. But here's the deal. He wasn't acquitted of the charges. He was acquitted of gun possession burglary. He was not acquitted of attempted murder, which he should have been charged with. But like I said, there was the whole hype about Johnny Cochran, and a whole bunch of people got paid off, and it was a whole lot of don't.
You said they were out in the streets with their signs and every other thing.
Massive. Do you remember the old school hip hop street team? They had massive, like 6-7 feet signs, 6 feet by maybe 4 or 5 feet on big wood staffs.
Wait, the hip hop street teams? Are you talking about like the cars and stuff that would like go through with like speakers, or this is something different?
Speakers too, but they also had people on foot carrying
clubs
that are like 6 feet tall by 4 feet wide, and it would have whatever the message was printed out, crafted.
So other than Diddy, like what are some examples? What type of things the like hip hop street team would do? Like promoting a party or something, or
parties, promoting whatever their message was. And if social media is effective, try 10 people holding signs walking up and down the street.
Yeah, in your neighborhood where you live and them and stuff.
Paying DJs to play music at clubs. It was a big deal in New York. I played in New York. It was like the beat of hip hop.
You know where you can see some of the archival footage for it? I haven't seen many people have this footage, but if you look on Leah Gordon's channel, and shout out to Leah, she did a piece called the Natania Reuben story.
Okay.
I stumbled upon it, me and my daughter, and I promise you, cried like I'm talking the real ugly snot.
She's fire.
Horrible cry. She's fire. She's
fire.
I finally spoke to her. We talked, and she's such a beautiful soul. She was inconsolable, and I was like, "It's okay, Leah. It's okay." And she was like, "No, you don't understand." And I was like, "What? Tell me what I need to understand." I said, "I know all of your people. When you get in touch with them, they support you. She's like, I've never talked to anybody I've done a story on. I've been doing this for 6 years. Everybody's dead except you. That took me out. Took me out.
That's powerful.
Power. She was crying inconsolably. She said, I've never talked to anybody. Everybody else is gone. And she's like, I'm so happy to talk to you. I'm so touched that you even wanted to talk to me. I was like, how could I not? Nobody else cared. You were the only person that saw it. She said, I wanted to tell your story. I couldn't understand why nobody was telling your story. And I was so touched. Her archival footage is amazing. She actually even opened my eyes to a couple of people from my past that did me dirty. They happened to be caught up in some of that old archival footage. And I was like, well, looky here. But
yeah,
you can see the street team. She has footage where you can see the street teams outside of the courthouse. It was like a concert outside of the courthouse every day for 7.5 weeks.
You think that's how it's going to be if it actually makes it to trial here?
Oh, absolutely.
I think, I've been going back and forth, like, because I'm in New Jersey. I live in Princeton. Mm-hmm. So it's like not that far to go, at least for a couple times. But it's like, I think I'm going to be sitting right here in this chair, actually.
I've been told you may not want to.
Yeah.
I know you're not scared. You're not scared of anything or anybody.
No, I ain't.
I've been told that it's probably not smart to show up at the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't go, it ain't gonna be because I'm scared of somebody, because nobody's gonna do nothing to me. I can promise you that.
But they do have.
But I mean, do I feel like listening to all that noise and like being around all them energy vampires and like sacrificing my energy to them? No, hell no, I do not. I like sitting right here and reading tweets and going in other people's live and be like, oh, now we got another tweet. Because that's the thing. Like, I like being on top of it. I like being like, oh, another tweet. If you're in there, you can't have a camera, you can't be live streaming, you can't be talking. And then what if you got to pee? I mean, I did do this for Britney Spears, but it wasn't a trial like this, right? Like 7 weeks, you said they were out. No, I don't want to do that. What if there's like a rogue Diddy supporter out there?
There's tons of them, and they will do his bidding for they don't even have to be paid. They will do his bidding just for the glory of saying I did it for him. Trust me, I've run into some of those over the 25.
Well, they will run straight into the barrier of protection if they come around me. But do I really want to be around them? No, MIMS. No, I don't. I don't.
I can tell you this. I know you're not scared, and that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
The people involved are extremely fearful because they've been touched.
And
yes. I'm not trying to be
I want you to stay safe. I know you're not scared, and I know you practice your Second Amendment rights, but
they're not in New York City. I don't think I'm allowed to do it over there. I won't be rolling into New York City with the Second Amendment rights, but I'll believe them in my heart. But no, I don't. I'm also just getting too old. You know what I mean? I've reached the age. It's Times Square. Even just hearing you describe it, I worked in New York for a while, like a summer, and then I actually lived in Times Square for like this 3 months period. It was cute for 3 months, but honestly, I don't like it.
It's a lot.
I made the mistake of staying there for Halloween, and I was dressed as Drake, and I had like the full BBL. I have never been touched so much in my life. I was BBL busy.
There's a picture of that. I need the picture right now. Did you post?
Yes, but make sure you turn the sound off. It's on my Instagram. Make it make sense now. There's a video.
Because it's going to have the song and he's going to copyright claim. Have y'all heard about this UMG?
That he's suing them?
What's that about? I haven't even looked into it. Anybody know?
Sounds like he's in his feelings.
Career.
He's mad.
The final nail in the coffin career.
Yeah, it's silly. It's frivolous.
It's silly, I think. Yeah. I think it's silly.
It's going to make him look worse than he already does.
Yeah,
It's getting Kendrick Lamar more clout, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Is it really making sides in this, or everybody's just on Kendrick's side?
No, he's turning into a Karen.
Kendrick Lamar?
No, Drake. Because it's a rap battle. The thing is, when you're accustomed to winning and you lose, now you go to the courts. That's the least street. That's the most Canadian thing. No offense to Canadians. That's the most Canadian thing that you could do.
It's giving that doesn't understand First Amendment, or what? Do y'all think, like, if you're Drake, are you mad about it, or?
Wait.
One.
Look at this.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, I didn't realize that was true.
Oh my God, wait, but you're pretty. Look at you.
I'm done. I'm done.
You look just like him. Crazy.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm a mess. I'm
and
a little
you'll have to
different
understand there is a song. Okay, I can't play it, but you gotta get the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fine. Okay, good. I needed to see it. Now everyone's seen it.
Full coverage.
I'm a little different on Instagram, so it's making make sense now on Instagram. I'm a little different than I am on YouTube.
I'm pretty much just about exactly the same everywhere. So
yeah, same.
Sorry.
What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get.
You know, I'm a little. Sometimes I'll dress up, record or whatever. Sometimes or whatever.
And we need a little levity because this thing is so heavy. And trust me, if you don't laugh a little, this can wear you down. Like I did also deal with a lot of depression over the 25 years because it's cumbersome. It's every time you turn on the radio, it's every time you turn on the TV, it's something, or somebody's making a joke about it. There was tons of jokes. I remember back when it first happened before the trial started, my mother they were talking so much junk on the urban radio station. My mother was like, don't watch them. Like I developed alopecia and all my hair fell out in one section. Terrible. And it was because I started rubbing the spot of my head. It was almost like a self-soothing. And all of a sudden I touched it and I was like, why does it feel so slick? Like, what is that feeling? I go look in the mirror and the hair is just coming out in clumps. I had rubbed it till all of the hair fell out. And so it was literally like this big of a bald spot on my head. And it was, one of the things that drove me to depression. I was a hairstylist.
Right.
And it was just.
You said it was urban radio, right?
Urban radio, they were destroying me.
And it's not just urban radio. Like if you look at it, all the people like Diddy, like Epstein, they buy into media. Back in the day, it was urban radio for people like Diddy.
Well, it wasn't just urban radio. My mother told me not to listen to urban radio. And so I started listening to like IMS in the morning, and they called me a one-eyed hoe with no nose.
Word.
Devastated. I was
wow.
Like, in the morning?
IMS, is that the one who said the nappy-headed hoe comment?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yep. And I was devastated. I was like, I can't listen to radio. And it's really what has given me the freedom to, I could sit in my room for 4 hours. This is the couch in the sitting area of my bedroom. I promise you, I could sit here for 4 hours in the quiet, just like this.
I've seen his hair. He could use a perm, a flat iron himself.
I'm coming up his hair too. Now that we're on hair.
And I was on a lot of the shows. They were just calling me. People had a different narrative. Some people said I had no nose. They said she got a hole blown in her cheek. She doesn't have a face. They called me everything. I was just like, do they understand every sentence is taking a piece of me away? Nobody cares.
And it's almost like they were acting like you went out there and were like, oh, pick me. Make me the person who has to be taking the 9 fragments in their face. Like, what they thought you was doing that like on purpose? Like
it was, but they lacked any empathy. And part of, it's odd because there was a time that the fact that my face looked whole was probably the greatest source of sadness for me because I looked fine. And so because I started looking fine, after a while, I looked perfectly normal or typically functioning. Nobody had empathy for me at all. They were like, get over it. Get over yourself. Just be happy you're alive. How many times are you going to tell me that story? It was terrible.
Are we not like seeing the pattern? If what Diddy is allegedly going after now is YouTubers and social media influencers, there's nothing to say that he did not slip Imus something or have Imus at one of the parties or loan Imus a hairdresser. And Imus said, okay, I'll say whatever.
I mean, that's one of the things about the Adria English thing that I said. I don't think she's lying. I think she's telling the truth that Diddy has worked with media conglomerates, including Penske Media, which owns a bunch of print media. They own Billboard, for example, and the Billboard Awards by default, Hollywood Reporter, right? Some tabloids and stuff. And so the allegation is he's been working with them to put these white parties on as something that they're not. And I believe that. I do. And I think that the radio stations were, that's Gannett and Tegna. So, I mean, that actually, I mean, he doesn't now. He owns Revolt. He, you know, founded it or whatever, owns it, which is different. But like you could see how it evolved from that.
The other guy with
bought the dude from Drink Champs a Maybach. Bought the dude from Drink Champs a Maybach. So when he's on there saying things like, "Why you didn't go out with me, Daddy? I want to go party with you, Daddy." Nobody is blinking an eye because they are on payroll and they understand just how much money they get. While we're looking at the Ciroc and the Leon bottles on the table that everybody is forced to drink.
Forced.
I have a theory about this whole little press junket Ray J has been doing. I say he was finessing us. I promise you, it's dropped into my spirit that Puffy was probably paying Ray J regularly, a stipend, a settlement, allowance.
I found the court case.
I love you. I love you.
Once he got incarcerated,
Pascal is trying desperately to get a word in here.
No, it's all good. It's all good. This conversation is fire. But Natania, I just want to say thank you. I'm not crazy.
No, he's
thank you, sweet baby Jesus. I'm not crazy, because I've been sitting here since day one going, why is he all up? Why is he all up in the videos? Why is he all doing these interviews? Why is he, bringing on Suge Knight, being the mediator for all this? And then after everything, almost getting pew-pewed at, or at least that's what he claims, then suddenly he gets back onto Cuomo's show and flips the script all over again.
I'll tell you why. When Puffy went to jail, his stream of allowance got cut off. Trying to say, give me my money, give me my money. And when the allowance wasn't paid and he started talking, that's when the sons tried to get involved. And so he said, let me finesse everybody. He started going on. Remember, he said, I have a lot of celebrities that have been saying to me that they want to talk and they want to pay the Busby to get their videos out. And then he did all these other little things. And then he popped up on Nicki Minaj's live acting peculiar. And then he did the Jamal Barrow interview. The pastor Jamal Bryant interview. And then he started saying, don't release that video. He was adding pressure to Puffy. See, Puffy was like, what did he say? He went to the pastor. Maybe he purged himself. What did he say?
Damn.
So he was so nervous that Ray J said something. He started sending that allowance again. And instantly Ray J said, freak off? What freak off? I've never heard of that.
Exactly.
He's a great guy. Finessed him and finessed everybody else. And I was thinking back like, what is wrong with everybody falling for this okie doke? The Bible says those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. I knew it instantly. I said,
Here's a court case, though. There's actually a court case.
What court case? What do you mean?
When Ray J started his scooty bikes and the earphones, he had told somebody who was supposed to be working like marketing for him that he was going to be getting a percentage. Then he cut them out, and it was, who's that other dude? He's Ray J's like manager. What's his name?
Weintraub.
No. He's also on another podcast.
You're talking about Whack 100.
Whack 100. They started disparaging this boy, saying he was crazy and all this other stuff. But he put in the court case that he believed that Diddy was one of the people who initially gave him the seed money to start the business that he eventually sold for $75 million. So that is the one link that I did find to Ray J potentially having a connection.
Ray J is outside. For those who don't know, for those in the podcast space who don't really know who Ray J is, don't sleep on him. He's known in the celebrity world, or you can call him B-level, but he's outside in them streets too. Please don't sleep on him.
So he's slick.
He's the eyes. He's outside.
He's very smart at marketing himself, similar to Diddy.
Between the lines, not just marketing. He outside. Outside.
I need some more hints because I don't know what outside means.
He's around.
He's. Don't take him for just Brandy's little bro.
He's like, in the mix.
He has his hands in multiple pots.
He's more than just being,
Remember,
what we see. I see.
Think back
on
people that had their demise later. One of the last people known to be with Wendy Williams regularly before she seemed not like Wendy was Ray J. One of the last people, the person with Whitney Houston when she ceased to exist was Ray J. And there's footage of him being snuck out of the back of the hotel. Please.
Yeah, I got a whole BJ Investigates in the works about our girl Whitney Houston, because the way she died, a lot of people don't even know. It's like a bunch of, people don't know. People think she drowned. People think she had a heart attack. I mean, really, she just got like hot to death. Like she just kind of like boiled alive because she was passed out in the hot tub. People don't even know that. Then y'all know her daughter, Bobby Christina, passed from lobar pneumonia, the same pneumonia Kim Porter died from. Y'all knew that? Lobar pneumonia.
Connected. What's the common denominator in that story?
Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, and Ray J.
Okay.
If you're running Whitney, don't forget to run her assistant at the time. He's the one who cleaned her room. If you look up Whitney's assistant at time of death, he admitted to the police that he cleaned out the room. Why would you need to clean out the room?
No doubt.
Also, what's strange is nobody knows that Bobby Christina passed out as well. So
that night,
one of the people on the gurney was Bobby Christina.
They were trying to get her that night, huh?
And raging. Well, no. I think that she was connected to her mom in a way that nobody fully understands.
I see.
And so seeing her mom like that, but Ray J allegedly was consoling her. So when you start digging, I cannot wait to watch your video, because they said Ray J consoled Bobby Christina in the lobby of the hotel where she passed. But they also said that Ray J came late and they sent him away. How can you, and TMZ gave that quote.
Well,
how can they say that you were consoling Bobby Christina and at the same time you were turned away?
I mean, there's the similar things. I know you covered it. Kim Porter's autopsy. It's like certain things in the autopsy report do not add up to other things in the autopsy report, like the things that the police report and stuff and all of that. It's like, hold on, y'all can't even keep your internal consistency. This is something's up with this.
That was the first time I shouted you out, because I hadn't seen it before. So that was the very first time that I shouted you out, because I got it from your channel.
And did you see that Noor Jasmine also did a video, and they redacted the doctor name off of my autopsy report that I requested as that surprise witness, but they did not redact the doctor off of hers. So I made like my whole video and everything based on the redacted doctor. And then I watched her video, because I don't like to watch too much of other people's coverage of stuff before I do it. And so then I watch hers after I film mine. I'm like, this 1-800 Rent-A-Doctor that's all over YouTube was Kim Porter's doctor, and they did not bring her to a hospital, and she just died in the house. Oh, no.
Who else doctor was he? He was the doctor that wrote the prescription for Drake that's on the front of that Kendrick put on the album cover, that prescription bottle that was left in the hotel.
You kidding?
No.
Farzam, he wrote that prescription?
And he was the doctor for Kanye. When
you talking about whenever it's just a prescription bottle and it's just playing, and you like, are they going to play a song at any point and it's just sitting there?
Eyes to see, ears to hear. I never looked what's anything else.
Wow. He was connected to somebody else too. It was somebody else.
Kanye with the Harley Pasternak thing.
Yes, Kanye. He's the one who set Kanye up. And listen, look, Kanye has some problems. Okay, I'm not like out here standing Kanye West. He's got
to start whispering. Whispering into the mic.
Just between us here at the, all of us here. Put a one in the chat if Kanye has some problems. But I mean, woo! They set him up. I don't care. 2016, they set him up. I don't care. I don't care. Corey Gamble had to hold his hand to go visit Donald Trump. They couldn't let him go on that journey alone. I mean, look, listen, I don't know that I'd want to personally go on it alone either. But I'm just saying.
Was he holding his hands or his hips?
His purse? I don't know. He seems good at
hips.
Corey Marie makes his rounds too. Corey Marie was everywhere too. I call everybody Marie, and I give everyone a Southern middle name.
There are quite a few people. The intersections of people and scenarios that appear nefarious are far and deep running. I see a lot of things, and before I became a content creator, I was sitting back looking at things like, wait, they can't see this obvious thing. What's wrong with me that I can see this?
I just say something's wrong with them. I mean, it's something wrong with them, and you still got to love them, and all that, because like we're called to do. but it's definitely a not like us situation with some of these people out here. It's like, if I have to get down to the lowest common denominator and explain some of this stuff to y'all, then you just gotta get off my channel. Like, I feel that way because it's like, we can't even start at a starting point. Some of these people, it's like, there's no starting point. Thank you, love you, bless you, get off my channel.
And some people are just willing to twist your words no matter what, because I hear, I think I am super sharp and to the point, and people will come back in and repeat, oh, you said such and such. And I'm like,
you called her a liar. Like, no, you didn't.
Please highlight the timestamp where I said it. They disappear and never come back because I didn't say it.
A lot of people are very loose with their words because they lying. And then they assume that's what you're doing. And it's like, no, actually, I choose them when they come out of my mouth. And then as soon as they come out some way I didn't mean, I correct it right then. Or I add a qualifier. And it's like, some of us, me, definitely you, Natania, you, Pascal, and you, MIMS too, because y'all are pretty big content creators. You understand like the liability of every word that comes out of your mouth being held against you. So you're kind of always a little bit conscious of it. And like, people think because we get on here and we can sound like a, announcer and we got a light in the background that it just must be so easy. No, like, we're thinking about the words we're saying, and some people get out there and they're not. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. But I can definitely tell that y'all pay attention to the words coming out of your mouth, Natania especially.
It's interesting because you got to remember that people are going to want to hear what they want to hear as well. They're just going to add in, they're going to fill in the blanks, even though there weren't even blanks in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So like, then going after you, Natania, for example, it's like, okay, yeah, like what you said, run it back real quick. What did I say? Yeah, exactly. I didn't say whatever it is that you think I said, because a lot of people sometimes, if it goes against their narrative or if it goes against their thought process of what they've been thinking about and what they've been believing for so long, it's hard for them to grasp. And then they'll sit there and go, no, what you really meant was this. And it's like, nah, I did not use the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, for crying out loud. I said exactly what I said and nothing changed. But yeah, people do everything they can to change the narrative just so it suits theirs, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, and the way that you describe it, Pascal, and I guess we'll be wrapping up soon. I guess we all probably got to go do
I got to hop off.
But I did want to close on this because it's actually touches on the point I was thinking about too. It's like, on the one hand, people hear what they want to hear from a negative way, right? Like, they just want you to be wrong, or they just want their personal worldview to be right just cause. But then there is a section of people, and I would consider myself, 4 years to go, to be in this section of people that really refuses to believe that a big institution could be on purpose lying to your face. For example, like a news organization could be telling you some stuff that's supposedly science, but ain't. And then like later on, they got to come out and say they were lying and they knew it the whole time, for example, without getting into any more details. Or Britney Spears, right? Like, all of the news media was in agreement that she needed a conservatorship. But then when I just simply looked at the documents of the conservatorship, they said she had dementia when she was 26 and she didn't. And they never, ever provided a doctor's statement of that. So all of the media had quite literally been putting false information out in the world, saying Britney needed something that was not legally justified. And so it's like, I remember literally grieving. CNN could be lying to my face. I mean, now I feel like it's stupid. Duh, they lie. Like I'm all the way in now, but it's like, they're not always lying. Some stuff they print is true. And each individual reporter is kind of responsible for their own beat. And it's not the whole organization and all of that. But it's like, to come out and believe, right? So for this good faith people, this group of people that's not just trying to be right, it's like, for them to believe, for example, you, like 5 years ago, before any of these allegations came out, they would have to deconstruct their whole foundation of what they understand is going on in the matrix of reality, the fabric of existence. Just to believe you, they would have to deconstruct everything that they know. Right. And so it's like, they should. I've had to do that, but
BJ,
go ahead. Yeah, sure.
And potentially lose whatever commercials Diddy was buying from that network. Mm-hmm. And potentially lose whatever, hands or whatever pots he might have had his hands in for other things.
So I was talking about, just the average person, but you're absolutely right. That's a whole nother thing when we're talking about the media, right? It's like they got bottom lines, and that's it's exactly right. Like they could even believe her, but then what are they going to do with that belief? They're not going to give up their money, like you said.
That's where the surprise witness, Pascal, and make it make sense come in, because we don't have that. we don't have to comply with that.
I said it earlier in this live. They got people, I know y'all do, in the inbox. Give you so and so $1,000 just to mention a stupid game or a stupid toy or whatever debauchery they trying to get us to sell. I know y'all got thousands and thousands of dollar offers. I know y'all do. We're not doing that out here like that. And if y'all do, and if I do, which we reserve the right to do, then I think I would believe it. I would.
Where's that at?
You know what I'm talking about. They send
I'm looking over here like, where did it go? I ain't seen none of it.
You don't want to shill these toys. I'd like to use this. No.
Right.
It is, but
think it for my green drink,
You could do something.
I have done the green drinks before, and I will do. I reserve the right to do a sponsorship. Yeah. I'm not trying to say nothing about that. It just, as soon as I get one in the inbox, I like that product, y'all getting sold. So y'all gonna have a coupon code out here. Let's click it and use it.
I had my first offer recently.
See,
as long
congratulations.
As silence you or change your content, I think that's where the problems come in.
I had my first offer. I believe they were small. I kind of just glanced over it because sometimes I will just glance over things and then I'll double back afterwards and read it through. But my mind tells me when it's ready to take stuff in, so I listen.
That's right. No, I think you're such a good example of that too. Just like listening and leaning into the sort of like intuitive, whatever you want to call it, spiritual. Some people would call it different things. Words don't usually have the ability to encompass what you're really saying. Right. But that, like leaning into that, like you said, your brain tells you when it's time to take the information in and it comes in when it needs to. And I'm just really grateful and appreciative that you're like out here, like being an example to all of us. And I think you're a really good leader. And I appreciate that you haven't allowed these horrible things to turn you into someone who's bitter. Like you have so much grace and I don't know, just like elegance. Like I think you're a good role model and I'm really inspired by you.
Well, thank you. Well, then listen, my future, somebody asked me what the future holds.
Yeah.
I run from the pulpit. I've had a calling to the pulpit for a long time. And I think I'm marching forward to that.
There you go.
Yes.
You're an orator. We already said it.
Yeah.
You orate and you kind of
inspirational too. Like I just want to, tell me what it says. I want to tell me.
Write like 5 more books. Write 5 more books. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Author.
Shot in the Dark Part 2.
Prophet,
you know what I'm saying?
Poet.
I also am a children's author. That was my first book called Nirvana Socks, The Nirvana Chronicles on Amazon and where you buy books. But shameless self-promotion again. But I am going to go on a speaking tour and I really want to talk to like groups and churches and stuff like that about my faith journey. Because all in all, it has this salacious aspect to it, but I think it's bigger than that. It's really about my obedience. And I think
it's your testimony, it could have went about a lot of different ways for you. And look at you.
Yeah, I went to theology school because I had questions that nobody could answer after stuff. And unfortunately, the pandemic happened and it shifted how we went to school and all that stuff. So I didn't finish, but I certainly believe that I got what I was supposed to get. And God's, like grandmother said, people will come from far and wide to hear me speak, her and her friends. So I truly believe this is the time now.
They're hearing you right now from far and wide. We got however many countries in the chat. I want to give Pascal and MIMS the opportunity to plug your channels, say where people can find you, if you want them to go to your Instagram where you're different or not. I don't know, maybe that's a little too small.
No. I'm very upfront. I didn't even have Instagram before I had YouTube. People have tried to manage me. It has not worked out in the past, but I did just take my first meeting with some people who do endorsements, but their endorsements would be like for therapists or things like that, things that I would feel comfortable endorsing after I spoke to somebody and determined if it's something that I would endorse. Or,
I know anybody over here, if y'all are endorsing it, I believe I might buy it, or use it or try it.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna make it make sense on YouTube. Make it make sense now on Instagram. I am nearing my 200K mark. It is crazy to
let's make it make sense at 200,000 before the new year.
That is my goal. But more than that, and more than plugging myself, I want to say I have watched all of you guys, including Popcorn Planet. I appreciate what you guys do because I don't watch everybody and I can't. Just in all honesty, I can't because I don't have time. Now, a lot of my stuff, I'm on the phone all the time with attorneys, survivors, and now my therapist to make sure that I'm not like,
losing your marbles.
So I'll end with this. I appreciate all you guys, and my phone is blowing up. I'm pretty sure yours will be blowing up too. All of us after this. I would say to you, the dopest nerd, hang out with your daughter. Do not be online. Do not go into the weeds. I'm sure if you follow the chat, you know what's happening, and don't go to the weeds. Give it no life, because give it no life, and I'll just leave it at that.
Indeed.
Agreed. That's great advice.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Pascal?
Yeah. Sup?
Just, final thoughts. We're wrapping it up. I'm just giving y'all the floor to say, how can people follow you? What are your final thoughts? Anything, like whatever, floor is yours kind of thing.
Sure. Okay, so you can find me on the Pascal Show on YouTube. Pascal Show on all platforms, so Facebook, Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all those platforms, so you can follow me on any of those things if you please.
And the microphone and voice sounds just as good across all platforms.
That's what they need to endorse. They need to give you a microphone endorsement.
Sure, get the man a sponsorship immediately.
Let me get a microphone. Short needs to call me. How's that?
Hey man, there it is. I would click the link into 10% on that one for sure.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so so you can find me on all those things. I've been watching all y'all's stuff for a minute. And of course, always appreciate everybody's work. That's the thing. I think if everyone keeps to the facts, keeps truthful, tries to be respectful as much as possible, because it's not our fight. We're here to help with the fight. Not make it about ourselves. Does that make sense? We're here to tell the story, right? Tell the story, tell the side for the victims and the witnesses, accusers, etc. And give them a platform. Sorry, what were you saying?
Don't become the story. I'm agreeing with you. Don't become the story.
Yeah, don't become the story. Damn right, Mims. Damn right. You see what I'm saying?
I'll do my best to try and not to.
Sure if you're going to interrupt what I'm saying, Mims, that you're going to say something with facts. All right. So I'm glad that it came with facts.
Was.
Damn. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. But that's absolutely right. Okay. I appreciate you agree with me. Thank God. Whew. Anyway. But anyway, so that's what I think. I really, really truthfully believe that we should be. See, this is okay. Let me just say this really quick. This is why I love the fact that the prosecution and the defense are doing this back and forth with all this paperwork, because that's where it's getting all really juicy. Now, don't get me wrong. People coming forward and speaking their stories and speaking their truths is one thing. Yeah. But there's always something to talk about because of the BS that's going on between the defense and prosecution. And then the more that Diddy keeps on screwing up and prosecution catches him screwing up, oh man, you can't even write that stuff. It is just too damn good, right?
Well, they can and they are, and we're reading it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we are reading it like I'm reading it like with every come together. Let's go read this stuff. I know, Mims, you do that too. Okay. I know we all do that to a certain extent, but it's just so juicy. And it's the most really real talk. The paperwork, usually the documents are supposed to be boring as you see what I'm saying? But it's
supposed to be, but it's whenever it's these high profile cases, precedential, cutting edge. That's what I consider to be my wheelhouse. I consider that to be my lane. reading the documents, explaining it to the people, and how we talk out here outside of like courtroom talk. And like now it's like I'm having opportunities little by little to speak with people who were there. You know, I feel so honored to do that. And I do feel a little bit of a shift. Like Mims was saying, like now he's on the phone all day with lawyers and survivors. And it's like, that's important work. It has to happen. Someone's got to do it.
That's incredible.
But really it's incredible. Like, you know, it's a different job than just reading a court document. And it's a different level of involvement and proximity and all of that.
I didn't know what you were talking about, Mims, but somebody just texted me and said, some crazy accusations against you from Lionel B channel, which is bizarre. First of all, I'm a woman of God. I listen, I am for this fight. I am a big girl and I got on my big girl panties. For 25 years, I've slayed giants bigger than this. What they're saying, I will go into the fray and watch it. But what I know is whenever you are rising above the enemy's attempt to kill, conquer, and destroy, the first thing they try to do is come for your character. I'm not the one or the two. You come against me, you come against God, and trust and believe. You better have a sling and a stone big enough to handle God. Your arms is way too short to box.
You know, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked.
Right.
Facts.
So also, I'm just going to say, like, thank God we're all... Oh, go ahead, Mims. Go. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'll say it.
Please.
One of somebody in the orbit was like, did you watch BJ Investigates? She did this really in-depth... it was an in-depth think piece on some letter that you found from the 80s where people were talking about how
the hip hop, the meeting that changed the hip hop industry forever.
And that was somebody in the orbit. So your voice is amplifying.
Well, that's good. I'm
you
just
are being heard.
That's another public record somebody sent to me. Gene Deal called me Law Princess one time. I think I need to put that on a plaque. I want to make myself a trophy because he called me Law Princess on YouTube, and I'm like, I definitely call myself the queen of YouTube, but now I'm Law Princess because Gene Deal said it. I mean, I don't know if he's credible or not. We've never really spoken or anything, but I kind of felt like, oh God, like the people that I'm talking about are watching my stuff now, like. Natania, you were saying, you know, I'm sorry, I never heard of this. Leah, I wrote her name down. Gordon, Leah Gordon, and she said, you know, I never talk to anybody that I make stuff about because they're all past, they're no longer with us. I mean, I've made things like that as well, but like I make stuff about high profile individuals for the most part that I never speak to, and it is emotional to hear somebody like I remember I met Bam Margera. And he was in tears, you know, why did you help me? Like, what, are you making a lot of money? And I was like, no, I'm losing money. Your guardian sued me for defamation. I'm literally negative money. And he's like, so why did you do it? And I was like, because it was the right thing. And I know that you were being taken advantage of by the system that took your right. I know what happened. And I saw it happen before. It's a pattern. I've seen it happen. And he was just like so thankful. And it made me feel emotional because it's like a lot of times we don't get to talk to people we make stories about. And for good reason, because sometimes you become the story if you do that. You know, it's like, you know, all that. But I'm just so thankful that we're all here. And I can tell you that I would rather the vibes over here. Or if we could do this on y'all's channel, I'm happy to go on anybody's channel if y'all, you know, would have me. I don't know if you have
doors like, always open
at your house over there or whatever. But, you know, I'm willing. And I'm happy to just keep the, you know, good vibes as much as possible, keep the levity and not venture too much into the, you know,
the mucky muck.
I wasn't going to say that, but that's the exact word. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said it.
Indeed.
I'll be in the mug tomorrow. I'm not going to lie.
Look, and I'll be in the chat.
I'll be in the mug tomorrow.
I'll be in the chat.
It's been days of work that I've done, but I will be empathetic to victims, but I'm gonna give both sides. So that's happening. And it
you mean like with the factual comparisons?
Yes. That's happening. But with a empathetic approach to all.
Sure.
I had to do some soul searching before I decided to do that. I do have to run.
Yeah, we're going. We're leaving.
I appreciate all of you guys. Pascal, if I ever need some voiceovers, I'm going directly to you, buddy.
I call dibs on you reading a copyright disclaimer at the beginning. I need your voice on one of those for the beginning of my BJ Investigates video. This video is fair use under the
I'm not
or this video will get striked if you.
On that note,
no reactions are allowed with watching this video or something.
Everybody can react to my stuff if y'all want to. That's fine.
Good.
Okay, well that's all we really had for today, everybody. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, Mina K. Bye.
Bye, y'all.